Good afternoon. This is Gary Kaiser again with part 2 of my mobile power plays presentation. And just as a reminder, these are principles that I've developed over the years for helping you to be more successful in business and in personal relations and just in successful living. These are empowering principles that are grounded in natural law, and this is the second in this series as I'm driving around actually doing the real estate business and giving you some pointers about how you can have a better career and a better life. So let me get this into reverse. I've got to take, speaking of being in the real estate business, I'm on my way out to another county right now, and I've got a couple of sets of deeds that I need to do an update on with the public record out there, and then get these recorded and on record down in Union County. So, welcome aboard. Hang on, get your seatbelt on. All right. So we're heading out of the parking lot here and out onto the road, out into the wide open spaces here near Charlotte, North Carolina. One of the principles that is, I guess, a foundational principle that I want to share with you, and this would be probably number 5 in this series of the second series, principle number 5, and that principle is that no one cares as much as you think they do. You got that? No one cares as much as you think they do. We spend, all of us, way too much time. We waste way too much energy being concerned with other people's impression of us. Now, I understand the principle that people's perception and people's first impression are very important, but we waste way too much energy trying to assure that we'll make a good impression. People pretty much are living inside of their own brains. Everybody you meet is living inside their own brain. You're living inside of your brain. I live inside of my brain. That's really where I'm living. I'm not paying attention in that kind of detail to anything you do and say. And I think that's the honest truth of it. Free yourself up. Don't be second guessing. Don't be trying to impress. Don't be putting on some persona, taking on some persona that's not really you, just for the sake of impression. Be spontaneous. Be honest. And the way to do that, obviously, is to be a well-integrated personality yourself. Be a well-integrated, balanced human being that knows what you're about, that's grounded in your truth, in your reality, and you'll go a lot further. And this also is sort of a lead into a really strong corollary about power that fits into this power plays presentation, is that the only way that others can assume power over us is if we let them. The only way others can assume power over us is if we let them. It's like, have you ever heard that phrase, taking offense at something? And I would submit to you that you don't have to take the offense. Somebody else might give you the offense, but you don't have to take the offense. You're the gatekeeper. You're the person who can keep that negative comment or that negative action and turn it away. Just put the kibosh on it. You don't have to take it. And by the same token, people can't take your power away from you. We all have innately the ability to defend ourselves and to maintain our own power and our own integrity, but we have to be proactive in the use of that power. There's an interesting notion that people cry victimization all the time. Okay, and I mean we see that in interpersonal relationships. We see that in relationships of social minorities to the larger community, that kind of thing. And the truth is, I don't believe that there are unwilling victims. Okay, I don't think you can be victimized unless as a child. Perhaps a child can be victimized by some stronger adult or some stronger older individual. I suppose there are victims who are incarcerated, that kind of thing. But in normal social circumstances and sociological circumstances where people are able to move around and have choices, there's no such thing as a victim. They're only willing victims. And I would even take that as far as to say, if someone is in a relationship that's not a good relationship, and they feel like they're victimized, then they need to empower themselves and they need to get out of that relationship. If you stay there in that relationship, then you have chosen your victimhood. So remember that, please. Nobody cares as much as you think they do. Free yourself up. Nobody can take your power unless you give it to them. It's a huge, huge foundational principle of everything that I try to teach. Okay? Nobody cares as much as you think. And here's another really huge foundational principle. This would be principle number 7, okay? This is huge. This is like base 1 in my cosmology and the way I see the universe around us and our relationship to it, okay? You ready for this? This is big. Your only point of power is the present. Your only point of power is the present. And the reason for that, if you think about it, is that the present is all there is. The present is right now. If you've ever studied Eastern philosophy, one of the baselines of Eastern thought is that it is always eternally right now. There is no tomorrow. There is no yesterday. It's just right now. It is always right now. And that's the only time you can do anything. You can't think about doing something tomorrow and make it happen. You can't regret what you didn't do yesterday. The only way that you can make anything happen is to actively do it right now. Yesterday is only a memory. Tomorrow can't be controlled. And don't put things off. Don't put anything off. You know, it's like these tapes, these videos that I've decided to do. I've thought about these for years. I got laid off from a wonderful job as I had as a trainer, and then in 2008, the subprime mortgage market went into tubes and pulled the rest of the economy down. I lost a great job teaching exactly this kind of stuff that I'm teaching right now. So I've thought about this. I went through a period working in retail just because I had to. I had no choice. I had to make a living. I was fortunate finally to get back into this business, but I've always thought of this stuff. And so I'm actually doing something now. I'm actually testing the water, if you will, and seeing if I can come up with a way to get myself back into being a motivational trainer, somebody who could really maybe make a living in doing this kind of work. Here's another principle principle that's a practical suggestion, not so much a foundational principle like the ones I've just given you. It's an everyday business technique, all right? And that technique is if you are looking for something to do, and this happens to all of the real estate industry, man, you've got to be working all the time. You've got to have something going on, and you can't just sit there and wait for something to go on. You have to figure out a way how to creatively, proactively get some interactions happening. And when I was in the business, this is before everybody used email, before computers were as well developed as they are, and for us in the business at that time, it was pick up the telephone and call someone. And that's still a wonderfully proactive thing to do. Nothing happening? Pick up the phone. Call somebody already. If you don't have any business going on, get into a conversation. Learn to be a good questioner. Learn to ask the right questions, those right open-ended questions. And just stay up with people. New opportunities will actually present themselves. Boy, there's nothing worse than being in those kinds of, look at the burrows, I love those. There's nothing worse than being in the doldrums of a sales career where you can't make anything happen. And that's the time you need to dig down deep. And don't do pardon me. Don't do the cold calls. Do the warm calls. Do the warm calls where you do follow-up calls on sphere of influence, people you've had done business with before. See what's going on. Think of some plausible reason to call them. Think of some a piece of news you can give them. Make up a pretext for making that phone call. And if you do that a couple times, well, your confidence starts to come back. You get over the reluctance to make a contact. And you may see some new opportunity just through talking to somebody. So remember that. Nothing happening? Pick up the phone and call somebody. That's what you got to do. Another almost no-brainer that people, agents, salespeople, and people in just their normal daily operations in family and coupling relations is to do what you say you will. When you tell somebody you're going to do something, by golly, you got to do it. You don't do it, then you've got problems. Do what you say you will. It shows respect for yourself, for other people, everything right down the line. So, there we are with a few more for today. And I'll look forward to talking to you on my next trip. And do this in segments, and hope you're having a wonderful day. We'll talk again real soon. Okay? Bye.